conference, that how do we use the digital world for our promotion of mediation and also for mediation. So I think that we need to do, but of course, Jasmine, please just tell us about yourself, and up till then I'll then put something up on the conference also. Yeah.
So I'm Jasmine. I'm final year law student at Punjab University, Chandigarh. I am from Punjab, but I study here, and I'm in my final year. I have just 1 week of college left, and after that, I really want to do something in mediation, and that is why I'm here. So
Good.
that was about me.
Good. But what about, I mean, you've been, of course, you've seen all the topics in the conference. What do you think? I mean, is there something that you feel has been left out in relation to the discussion? Or is
I
something
really,
else?
I really
Let's.
don't think that there's something.
So this is what we are doing. Because actually, what happened in the last session, I was with Tabitha and Murthy, and they was saying that maybe should do a little introduction as to the session. So I said, let's put this out that this is the World Mediators Conference. The theme is Mediation Vision 2026, so the evolution of mediators and mediation. And of course, 18th May to 30th June, Ken Cloke gave the inaugural address. All recordings of all sessions are available on my YouTube channel. You can search for Mediator Vikram on YouTube, or you can go to mediatorvikram.com and you'll find the information there. So please watch the sessions, leave your comments in the chat, and we'll take them up. So Jasmine is now, her topic that she has chosen is mediation, a life skill. Now I put a question mark in front of it. So we're going to talk about it from that end, that is it or is it not? So what do you say, Jasmine?
I think it is a life skill because what mediation helps in is communication, and communication is the most basic life skill. Communication forms the basis of every relationship, every professional, family relationships, or any social relationship we form. And mediation helps in resolving any dispute that may occur in any family, in any relationship, like professional or non-professional. So it is a life skill. It prevents disputes. It helps solving disputes, resolving disputes.
Perfect. But what is mediation? What is mediation, Jasmine? You're a student of, okay, you're a state student of law. So do they tell you about mediation in your law college?
They do. We have a subject, ADR.
So now under that, how much do they tell you about mediation?
Mediation, we have 1/4 of a unit. That is just, we are told the definition, importance, uses, and stages.
So what did they tell you about mediation?
That mediation is a process where a neutral third person sits between two conflicting parties and helps them in resolving their dispute. Mediator himself or herself or themselves do not participate as such, do not give solutions. They just help, facilitate the parties.
Well, that's the thing. I'll tell you where the problem for me lies is that because obviously everyone is going to talk about mediation in different ways and define it in different terms. And that kind of also creates a problem because every part of the world, mediation itself is something that people are still kind of grappling with or keep debating the potato thing. So what I did was I said, look, today India doesn't have a definition of mediation in any of the laws. So where can we look for a definition of mediation? So we have the Singapore Convention, which India has signed, not ratified, but signed. But while signing it, it means in principle, you've accepted the definition. So let's have a look at that definition. And from that end, because when we say something is a life skill, first of all, mediation by itself, we should know what it is. So I take this as the definition because today that's the definition we have. And most countries, that's the situation, that maybe if it's defined somewhere specifically, definitely they can look at that definition. But if it's not defined, they should. And if they've signed the convention, in any case, in principle, the definition has been accepted. So process, irrespective of the expression used or the basis upon which the process is carried out. I'll take you through these aspects, whereby parties attempt to reach an amicable settlement of the dispute with the assistance of a third person or persons lacking the authority to impose a solution upon the parties. Simple, not difficult. So here what the thing is, as a process, irrespective of the expression used, Now you can call it mediation, you can call it conciliation, you can call it Jasmine process, you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter, it doesn't take away from the process. So we'll come to the important aspect of it. Then on the basis on which the process is carried out, because like you said, someone told you that it is a facilitative process, the mediator doesn't give a solution, and those discussions happen. Now here, this is what we have to be careful about, because it doesn't matter. For mediation, it doesn't matter. But people who bring out various aspects of models and other things, they keep debating this. But we are not confined by that. So main thing is that it can be carried out in any way. You can be totally facilitative if you want. It's your wish. And it's the party's wish. They want or you don't, they want you to suggest a solution. You can suggest a solution. You want to suggest a solution, the parties don't have to take that solution, because finally it is their decision. They are the ones who are going to decide that settlement. So this debate is just confusing the user. We want users. We don't want to have a theoretical academic discussion on it. We want users. So for a user sitting in a mediation doesn't even know what you are talking about: facilitative, evaluative, transformative, narrative. I mean, what are you? I've come here, please help me resolve my dispute. That's all. Stick to that. I'm not here for a class on mediation. So this is another issue that's coming up around the world, I'm telling you, because one box of mediation went out from the US, where some people believed that it has to be purely facilitative, hands are tied, you can't go beyond it, kind of thing, which according to me spoiled the concept. They didn't really take off in, even I keep saying even in the US, but we'll of course discuss that as we go along. Main thing is parties attempt to reach an amicable settlement with the assistance of a third person, which is the mediator. But important, this is the important part, lacking the authority to impose a solution. This we have to be very clear. The person should not have the authority to impose a solution. It's not suggest a solution. It doesn't say that, and that's, we have to be very clear. It doesn't say the person does not have the authority to suggest a solution. No, impose a solution. That's what it is. That's all we have to be careful about. After that, however it is done. So I'm taking it from this perspective, because when we say a life skill, the aspect of whether it is something that you take with you as a facilitative process or an evaluative process, how you go about it in your life, how you use it, that's up to you. So this is the background. I like to give you the background because obviously I don't know what you have been taught about mediation. So we have to be clear where we start from. So what else do you know about mediation?
So I've attended IN campus classes on mediation. So they told us about emotions, how important they are for mediation, like how to express them and everything.
But Jasmine, I think your voice, I think there is some disturbance. I don't know. It just kind of has some kind of like you have wind coming on a mic, something like that.
Just a minute, just give me a minute.
Yeah. So because we want the sound to come in well. So the inaugural address, yes. I said, why let's put it up.
Now?
Yes, much better. Yeah.
So,
so you attended something, you said?
Yeah, I am campus classes on mediation, like to become a qualified mediator. So they taught us practical aspects of mediation. I don't know how much they apply to cases in India where it's the court who sends the cases to mediation, and lawyers, people who act as mediators, are actually lawyers, and people actually want them to give some solution, actually listen to what the lawyer says, and agree to the solution accordingly. But like they taught us about emotions, they taught us about how to communicate, they taught us about like using pictorial representation, or how to ask questions, open-ended questions, and how to make parties vent out what they're feeling. So mediation, what I think is mediation involves a lot of venting out, communication, different perspectives, different truths, and of course, it also includes healing, because when someone vents out, they heal. A part of them heals. So it's very interesting.
But the important thing for me is that when you were sitting in those classes, were you able to relate to it, or were you actually, you said that you were being taught something? I want to that. What did it seem to you?
I was actually relating to it. Like, I think communication is very important. When you communicate how you feel, a part of you feels. And mediation involves communication. Like, so what we did was we had a simulation where one of the persons became Snow White, and the person opposite them, they became the evil stepmother. And they had a conversation. There was a mediation between them,
Mhm.
and it helped a lot. Like, we changed rules again and again, we switched rules, and at the end, Snow White was actually feeling better. She did not feel betrayed at the end of every session. She was healed, and it was so interesting to watch.
Hmm. No, actually, why I'm asking you about relating to it or learning, because I've been saying that the people who have that skill, they have that skill. I mean, it's something that is, how does it come into them? Is it the environment they grow up in, or is it experiences which brings it, whatever the reason. So I'm trying to say that does Jasmine have this as a natural ability, or can we put it into you? Because when you say a life skill, so first of all, we have to understand what that skill is. Of course, that's skill. We have to understand skill. And is it something that we can put into you, or it is in you, we have to bring it out of you? How is it going to work?
I think this is something which can be acquired, but can be inherent as well. Like, obviously, no one is born a good communicator. No one is born a mediator or best at expressing emotions. But this is like a part of basic human needs. Like, before language, we had gestures and expressions. Because communication was always important. It is basic human need. So it is something which is already present. The desire to communicate is always present in human beings. All we need to learn is how to express our desires, our needs, which
But
can
actually,
be learned.
yeah, no, because actually, where I am coming from is that when we, of course, everyone has their ways. They say they're teaching. I say that you can't teach it. It is there. You can maybe hone that skill or develop that skill. That's okay. I keep saying that, but that's okay. I'll keep ranting on that as I say it. But I'm saying is that, look, if there is something that you can pick up, through your life and relate to it, that is something. Of course, life. First of all, defining life, we won't do it, but we have to definitely define skill. So, what is skill? Important to understand, and then we'll make it a life skill. So let's divide the two and say what is life and what is skill. So life, there'll be a whole debate. Because I tell you, when I was discussing, we had that symposium last month, the box that is created, and you said communication and whatever elements you mentioned, but there are lots of elements are beyond that, like heart, soul, and spirituality symposium that I said last month, which doesn't get discussed. So to say that that is all there is to mediation, sometimes people put it on to this is it, this is mediation, and this is what you have to look at in terms of someone's skill. But what about all those other things which people maybe don't know about or are not discussed? So those elements make a whole package. So that aspect of it, I'm saying that we need to also look at that. Don't that limited aspect of what can be put in words. Don't limit it to that. That's what I feel, and that's when your life skill aspect will become more important, because those elements that some people bring with them and take into life with them, that's very useful. I don't know whether you understood what I said. I mean, but I'll simplify it. But what did you understand from it? You can tell me. What did you understand from what I said?
I basically understood that it is something that we learn, we acquire. I experienced something which made me learn and understand that meditation is a life skill. Is that right?
No, I tell you what I'm saying is that first, the whole concept of mediation and the larger picture or the larger perspective on it, first we should have all that, and then say that okay, mediation is a life skill, because that whole larger aspect of mediation involves a lot of factors. So these are some of the aspects that you have mentioned. Definitely those communication and listening, all those normal things that people keep talking about, not a problem. That should be a part of life and a life skill in general. Communicating with people and being able to have dialogue and to listen to people, perfect. But when it comes down to mediation by itself, it's much larger than that. Mediation, what is it? It's actually helping someone resolve a dispute. So that's when this whole division between that facilitative evaluative thing comes up, that helping a person resolve their dispute, or people resolving the dispute. How? First of all, how? Is it a question? First of all, should that be a question? Is how really important? I want to help two parties resolve a dispute. How I do it, it should be left to me in terms of how the process. That is also getting limited by so-called training. I'm using that word. I don't like to use it. You've heard me. Skill development is what I like, but that's also getting limited. So first, what is mediation? We saw the broader definition. That's a broader definition. So being a life skill beyond these basic aspects of, because that's just an element of it. I mean, element of it. A mediator will obviously have certain basics, not a problem. Be able to communicate, be able to listen, not a problem. And these are normal. What else is required is what we have to widen that part, and then look at it as a life skill and not as a simple, very simplified concept as, oh, just facilitate a discussion. Let's go beyond that. Let's not limit it to that. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
I think this is a better way to approach, better approach to understand how meditation is a life skill if we include all its facets and then we reach a conclusion or like draw an inference.
Because ultimately, otherwise, what happens is that we sometimes, by putting only these very basic elements, we, I don't know, let's use the word, would you demean mediation by saying, putting it down to such simplified things that just a matter of communication or listening, very such basic things. It's much more involved, more. I mean, I mean, there's lots more that happens there. So I think that is why that whole discussion around all those things are important, and not put it across to people as so simplified aspect. I mean, that's, it's simple as when it happens, maybe for people who have that ability, that skill, it happens simply in a very simplified manner. But what all goes into it? So because if I tell someone that this should be a life skill, so that whole concept of what that skill requires, up till we don't get more detailed into it, I think we'll be misleading people. That's what I think.
I got it. I understand.
Yeah, because if I say, what am I telling them? If what is a life skill? When I say listen to people, perfect, that's not a problem. Yes, we should listen. Okay, you should be able to facilitate a conversation. Perfect, not a problem. You can tell two people to sit. But do we have a role beyond that? Don't we have a role beyond that? I think that's what the question is. Don't we have a role beyond that? So that
This
we need to discuss.
this reminds me of a conversation like it happened in the training only. It was Ken Cloke only. He was one of our trainers, and he said that meditation made me a better person.
Yeah.
And this is something which stayed with me. I think it will always stay with me. So I think that statement in itself is like a good proposition to use, that meditation is a life skill.
So
It's
that's what I'm
like
saying. Now, look,
it
that
makes you
is
a better person.
what he said is the effect of mediation. That, okay, if it is something that you use, you can become a better person, or if you are exposed to it, you can become a better person, whatever. But that's the effect of it. But what about the actual process, or what about mediation itself? Because you're saying it should be a life skill because it makes you a better person. Okay, something like that is what I'm taking from there. Perfect. I mean, what you get out of it should be a good result. That's why we are talking about it. But what is that life skill? What is that skill, first of all? That life skill, yes, but what is that skill by itself? It needs a lot of discussion, because let's, like I said, don't, I mean, because you try to say it in just basics, because you have to put someone through a training, again training, you have to put them through a certain number of hours, and you have to do this, the larger aspect of it gets lost out. So that's why I'm saying, why am I talking to you about this, is because that the larger aspect of mediation and what all goes into it, that part of it I want you to study, because college will use, like you said, is not going to tell you too much. It seems to be quite basic, as I can see, very basic. So, and you are interested in the subject. So I think you should maybe, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't even know who writes what because I don't read books, but I mean, wherever you pick up, think about it. Maybe through your experience talking to people, however, but try and understand more about mediation. What do you think?
It is important. Like I'm in my early years early years of life only. Like I yet to learn a lot about mediation. It's something I've just started, so I do need to learn a lot.
Because I tell you, in terms of the process, of course, on my shows or anything, you're never going to pick that up because I never talk about that. Because why I don't talk about it is that Jasmine has her way of going about it. Okay, she has to help to people resolve a dispute. She has her way. No one can ever say, no, this is not the right way. What is the right way is not for a third party to tell you. You are sitting with parties, you are helping them. As long as they are all right with you, and look, finally reaching a settlement or not reaching a settlement is should be not the main objective. I mean, of course, it's an objective, but to say if the settlement did not happen, so Jasmine did not do what she did, do what she was doing properly, she should not take it as that. The point is that if that whole process goes off in a manner where what could be that the parties have reached a point where more communication has happened and they will maybe later have a better conversation, they might reach settlement, or they might in some way have a certain communication understanding of themselves which they did not have earlier. Could whatever, I mean, I'm not saying let's limit it to that, but Jasmine has her way, and Jasmine's way might be the best way. So I still feel that you should, from your end, of course, people will talk to you about the process. They will hear a lot about it. And if you go for whatever training, as we call it, that if you go there, definitely process will be discussed. But I would want you to, in a way, try and understand your way. Do you think?
So I there.
Audio is a bit of a problem.
Is it better now?
Yeah, I think you just kind of just disappeared in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's my internet. Something's wrong here.
I think
Maze tonight.
there's an audio problem because on the Zoom, it's not showing that your mic is on. And the audio shows that audio is not connected. So this is the schedule which is out there on my posts. So this is what all we are going to be discussing. We've already done these sessions. So you can click on the YouTube link and you can watch the sessions. So we've done up till here. We're here right now. So,
Audible now?
yeah, you're audible.
Sorry, I think there's something wrong with the internet.
Yeah. Any better now?
Yeah.
So what I was doing, I just put the sheet out to show that whatever sessions, the date, the time, and then you have the YouTube link. Then you click on this sheet, you get the social media post. Please click on that, share the post. The panelists, as of now, this of course is going to keep getting longer, I think. Some broad points for discussion, but we can discuss other points which you think are important. So let's just have a look at what all is coming up. And of course, the time slots which are still lying there. If there is something that you want to discuss, get in touch.
I need to change my internet connection.
Yep.
Just a minute for that.
There's an audio connection issue.
Just need a minute. I'll sort it
Yeah.
out.
Hi, Jonathan. Jonathan, you have to unmute yourself. Yes, how are you?
Could be better. Vikram, just to say really apologies. I'm totally submerged in various matters at the moment, but I will join you as and when I can.
But I can't see you. But you don't want to show me your face, or you?
Yeah.
Yes, much better. So, how was your trip?
I'm just about to go away, so I really wanted to just come online just to say simply that I'm absolutely submerged in stuff at the moment. So if you'll forgive me, I will sign out now, but sign back in when I'm able to.
Perfect, perfect. But I was just checking, your trip to Israel was nice. Everything went all
Yeah,
right.
it was okay. Thanks, Vikram, and I hope we speak soon.
Yeah. Please drop in like this. Thanks a lot for dropping in.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, Jasmine. Any better?
Yeah, I changed my internet connection. Is it?
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. You're okay. So I said, what I'll do is while you're in and out, I will go through the sheet for the schedule. And so that keeps us busy. And while you were gone, Jonathan Lux, he's a mediator, very senior mediator in the UK. He had just come in to say hi because I haven't seen him for some time. So that all has happened while you were away. So yes, we were talking about what, Jasmine?
We were basically talking about that how we should understand why it's a skill before we call it a life skill. Like what mediation encompasses.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was really saying was that, Jasmine, in terms of the process or how you do it, you might be the best. The way you do it, how parties react. So for me, that's why I don't discuss the process. There are some aspects of it some people have discussed. I don't stop anyone from doing it, but I just feel that everyone to that extent should be left to themselves, because there is no way that I can sitting even in a mediation that you are doing and watching you. I can't say you're right or wrong. At the end of the day, it's the party's comfort with you, and whether they want, if they keep sitting in the process, it means they're okay with it. So and if the end of the day, whatever the result comes out, I mean, in terms of, like I was saying, that settlement agreement or no agreement, but how that whole process is helpful to the parties, that's all that matters. Whether now the thing is that whether you, as you go along and you do mediations, you yourself are going to introspect and you will be able to reflect, and maybe you'll change your way of going about it. That could be one. The other is by reading the theory of it. Does that help you? Totally your thing. I mean, totally yours. But main thing is have that confidence in yourself. That's the important thing. So that's what I mean, in the larger aspect of development of mediation, that's going to be important. That if people don't have to duplicate a certain box and take it everywhere, they must realize that they have something to contribute themselves. I'm saying all that to you because you got interested in mediation, and I don't want you to fall into that trap that I've seen a lot of young people fall into. They go for some kind of a, again, training, and the trainings that say that we'll make you a mediator, and after that actually the confidence level goes down. They actually would have been better off not going there, because suddenly they are told about this very some complex technical thing, oh, mediation we're telling you about, while they had it naturally in them. Uh, Everyone doesn't have to connect with theory. It's the fact is that it's a practical thing. It's a human to human connection that is happening. So how you connect to people, I mean, that's your way, and what you bring in terms of your energy that you bring in, because that definitely is also a discussion we're going to have. Energy fields and mediation. So what you bring in, that's you. That's you. I mean, no one else can be you, first of all. And I can't make you me. That's you will be you. How you talk, how your what your tone is, how you use your hands, or just the fact how you connect with people. Look, listening is one word. Now listening through your ears, or listening through your heart, or listening through your soul, we don't know what all is happening there. So how you connect with people is totally yours. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm saying all this to you. I'm no one to tell you all this. I mean, these are things you will pick up. But we have a little bit of an issue when I see young people actually losing the confidence, and that part of it really does affect me, because they would have been the best mediators, maybe, but they might just go away from it, thinking, no, this is not for us. What do you say?
This actually, when you said that it's something which people have in them already, it reminds me of what I said, that there are some set of people, and some empathetic, some apathetic. So when person is empathetic, they have better ability to understand what is happening. So, and being empathetic actually helps when resolving disputes.
The important thing you
Maybe this
said.
is something, and but
Because
sorry.
interesting thing that you said, being empathetic, because the point is empathy comes from within. Now I can take you through into a class and say, this is empathy. How does it make any difference to what the theory of empathy is? Can you not hear me?
Yeah,
Because theory of it doesn't matter.
I can hear you.
Point is that it's the feeling inside, feeling for someone else. That's a experience that you have within you, or the way it connects with the other person. Can I take you through a class and put that into you? I don't know how it's done. If it can be done, it'll be the best thing in the world. Let's just give that little dose to everyone in the world. If that could happen, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There is a theory part of it, and there is the aspect of what really happens. And these are the things. Now, some people say show empathy. I mean, if you're not empathetic, how do you show it? What do you mean? What is the show aspect of it? It's not show business. It's you're connecting with real people. So I think that part of it is also something I feel is really important, that we need to discuss these aspects and not make it trivialize it. Is trivializing it by saying that I can take you somewhere and I can put that into you. But we are still okay. Please meet Elizabeth first. Hi, Ali. That's again. I think I am going to put one sign in the waiting room. Please unmute yourself before entering. You want to or you not want to? You want to unmute yourself or not, Ellie? What is happening? Yes.
Vikram, I don't know what's happening. I tried to do it twice. Glad to see you. I'm so sorry.
So okay, so meet Jasmine. Jasmine, a student in India. She had picked up this topic, mediation, a life skill. But here I'm giving her a lecture on life and life in mediation. I shouldn't be doing that. I don't like to lecture people, but I was just a little concerned because the way mediation is put out to people in terms of we can take you into a class and we can make you a mediator. That's something I was just wanting to discuss with her. So if you please, but Ellie, what do you think? The topic is mediation, a life skill. What do you say?
I want to hear Jasmine first. And of course, it's a really beautiful topic because I think what almost every mediator is using his skills in our life and also our mindset in our life.
Yeah, so important. So please tell us, because look, with Jasmine and me, the discussion was more on very basic aspects on what is mediation, first of all, because when you say mediation, a life skill, we have to understand what is mediation. So I was taking her through the definition in Singapore Convention, because I like to put that across, because there is maybe I would say confusion created by people as to what is mediation and the limiting factor of it. Some countries have a very limiting factor on how they look at mediation. So I was trying to take her through that, because being a student, I just feel that sometimes those broader aspects don't get discussed. and they go to a class and something is told to them, and they think, of course, I mean, if you're studying something, that this is it, but they might be much, much broader than that. So I was largely talking about that. We haven't really reached, have we reached, Jasmine, the life skill aspect of it? Or haven't we? We haven't. What do you say? We haven't. Good. Okay, good. So at least she's
We're
come at the right
talking
time.
about skills.
Yeah. Because look, Ellie has heard me. I mean, this aspect of something which is a skill that people have, and how we develop that skill and hone that skill. So she's heard me say that. No, that's why I won't rant about it. I won't keep repeating it. But Ellie, please, you tell us about what you think. Mediation, a life skill. What do you say?
Vikram, I don't know if you already speak about it before, but as for me, I think that there are a lot of skills which we are getting through studying mediation, through practicing mediation, and through our work with different people, working with different cases, with family cases, or maybe in schools, in school conflicts, etc. And you know, when we are speaking with our colleagues, what now in our life, we have we already changed ourselves also. And of course, in our personal family, we can't be a mediator because firstly, we are persons and we can't be neutral when we are at home, for example. But in any case, I think what me by myself and my colleagues who are in Altai region, we usually start speak with people maybe in a little bit another way when it was before, when we didn't knew a lot about how to create communication better. And that's why maybe even speaking with our parties, with our husband, with our children, we use our skills, even don't thinking about it. What's what we are doing in mediation, trying to help to other people to create their communication. We also use it now in our life when we speak with anyone. And I think what's it happens all anytime, even when 0 days ago I have to write a lot of messages in chat of our house. There are a lot of flats, and we have to find some decisions for us which we will use. For example, we need to get
Yeah.
sorry, Vikram, do you hear me?
Yeah.
I have a call. And do you know, when I was writing these messages in chat, I have to use my mediator skills because people here don't want to find some resolution. We're usually trying to write, but I am against this idea. I don't want to do it. So I asked them, if you don't want to do it, tell me please, what do you think we must do, and what you by yourself may do in this situation, and write us please what you want to do. And in this case, I think that it helps me to resolve some problems even when I wasn't a mediator, but I was a part of this chat.
Good. So that's what okay. So that's one aspect. But you said we can't use it in family about the neutral, but not being neutral. That by itself is a discussion we have to have, whether neutrality is an important aspect, or I mean, in what situations are you really going to be looking at things from a different perspective? Are you neutral or not in that circumstance? I think because I'm saying we go beyond that neutrality. I mean, if you are an impartial person, you might not be neutral, but whether your impartiality is good enough, as long as you are that, if you're impartial, whether that aspect of neutrality comes in or not comes in, we have to debate that. I mean, that discussion keeps happening all the time. So let's not get Jasmine into that discussion. She's too early into mediation to get into that. Yes, Jasmine? Because she also used the word, she said in her definition that she was told neutrality was someone neutral is what you said, no? The definition you were told. in college. So that
Yes.
so that needs to be,
Yes.
of course. Okay, so you will there's a whole study on this aspect of neutrality in mediation. So you can definitely, you have enough reading material available in the world on that. So that's why, because I tell you really what I was really discussing, because mediation as compared to certain elements of the mediation process which gets discussed. So one is that whether you become a good listener or you are a good listener, just taking that element, I'm saying that that's not what we should do. We should say, when we say mediation, the entire process I'm talking about. So here you were, like you were saying, within your apartment or where you stay, you had to put something down. So there was an issue there which had to be resolved. So your communication was based on resolving some issue. So I'm looking at those kinds of things, not whether I can maybe communicate with you better in general. So I'm trying to put it down and narrower, because for me, the narrow aspect of mediation sometimes get lost in the general discussion. Active listening is what people talk about. Okay, that's an element of, okay, that whether you can be a good active listener or not. Okay, we can discuss that. But the entire process of mediation and actually helping people resolve a dispute, I want to keep that as the discussion point. So how is that a life skill? Helping people resolve a dispute, like what just Ellie said right now. Here there was some kind of a dispute, say within a community, and then in that situation she's having a correspondence. So she is looking at both those elements which are involved, and looking at that and trying to see that communication flows in that manner. So these are the important things that I'm saying, that in the dispute resolution situation, and moving away from a general each element life skill. Active listening is a good life skill. Communicating with people is a good life skill. Okay, very nice. But mediation by itself, that as a life skill, I'm focusing on that. So Ellie, anything more that you want to tell us on that?
Vikram, tell me, please, do you see the mediation as the whole procedure with its studies, with its parts and its structure? Do you want to speak about it, how we may use it in life?
Well, actually, the Jasmine is the one who has to tell us. But she has suggested the topic. Of course, she was supposed to tell us what she wants to discuss. But of course, in terms of our discussion, the way I'm taking it is that it's not about, look, not dissecting it. I'm saying let's not dissect it and just take these elements separately and then say each of those elements is a life skill. I want to put the whole package together. And I say, okay, mediation as the entire package is the life skill. So is that something which makes sense? What do you say, Jasmine? Does it make sense to you? Because it's your
does
topic.
make sense. Yeah, so basically, we're talking about how resolving dispute, which is the aim of the mediation life skill.
So let's say hi to Lily first. Hi, Lily. And if I have to tell you to unmute yourself, it's a penalty on that. Now we're putting penalties on this.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please meet our friends. Jasmine is in India. She's the one who suggested the topic, that mediation a life skill. Elizabetha is in, I always say Siberia. I like to, of course, we can say Russia, but I just like to say Siberia because when we were taught in school, Siberia was some place where no one lived. That's the way it was put across in general. So I'm just trying to say there is a person living there. People live in Siberia. So that's how it is. So please introduce yourselves. Please tell us, you can each tell each other about yourself.
I just wanted to join. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here. But yeah, I really was interested in the topic that, yes, I think it is a life skill. So thank you for thinking of that, Jasmine.
And what the discussion right now, what we were talking about is that what are we really going to be talking about? That was I'll tell you why. Because what happens is, for me, discussion on mediation is important. And sometimes the discussion on mediation gets left out because certain elements of what go into mediation get discussed separately. like I was asking Jasmine, so she was talking about the aspect of active listening. And largely you keep hearing about people saying active listening. Active listening might be a life skill. Perfect. Let's take that, not a problem. But let's now look at mediation as a package being a life skill. So is there something that you want to add on that, Lily?
No, I'm just going to listen for the moment.
Okay. So okay. So Elizabeth, I was going to take her. Elizabeth, please.
Okay.
What as a package? Okay, as a package, because Ellie just gave us an example that there was within that where she lives in that apartment complex, there was some communication that had to go out. There was some issue that they were trying to resolve. So when she was sending that communication out, her mediation skills, those aspects came out in the way she was communicating with them. So that's important. So that's what I'm saying. You're trying to resolve a dispute. For me, mediation is a process to resolve a dispute. I don't say conflict. That's a much larger area. I don't want to get into it. I'm very, very focused. I'm too focused. So resolution of a dispute is what I am looking at, that being a life skill, not each of those elements which go into it. So that's the kind of discussion. So Ellie, what do you think?
Vikram, for me, it's difficult to speak about mediation as a whole package because we must understand what is in this package, what are we including in it when we are speaking about it, which skills. But if we will speak about some parts of it, so as for me, we are really using it in our lives. As I already said, maybe we are trying to resolve some situations which we are seeing our in people who are near to us, in our families, in our houses, at our work, etc. And also, as Jasmine said, about active listening also, and maybe something what we can't call as maybe a skill in mediation, but I think that these things we are getting when we are working as mediators. For example, I understand that in our family, we are usually speak about any questions which we want to discuss in the day when it's happened. So we are not waiting for a month when we will thinking about it by ourselves, but we are, if we have some questions to each other, not only me, but my husband, he asks me when he get it. And if we don't like something, we are trying to tell to each other about it and to make it carefully. And when I speak with my colleagues, or what I told you about neutrality is what my colleague said that I told to my husband that in my family, I'm not a mediator, so don't wait for me, but I will be a quiet person who will listen to you anytime, because I also have emotions, and maybe sometimes I can't stop my emotions, and I have to go through it first. But she also told that in any case, she see what her skills, which she is practicing, were also influence into her family, and her husband also start speaking by her words. He speak by some phrases which she use in work and which she taught him about.
Well, I do, from what you were saying, and you've of course said it again about the aspect of within the family, and if you are involved in it, I'm saying that mediation as what it is, and of course you've been part of that. There, you have to be able to remove yourself from all that, and then it's a life skill for me. That whether we can, when you're sitting in a mediation now, for you, that of course neutrality by itself is going to be a whole debate, whether you should be neutral or not neutral. That's a whole debate by itself. But I'm just taking one aspect of it. Impartiality is something which is, according to me, non-negotiable there. So if you are impartial, whether in that family, you're in a family situation and you have certain views, to be able to go beyond that and to be able to look at resolution of a dispute from a perspective where you are looking at everyone's views on it or everyone's thought process on it, being able to look at and being able to remove yourself from it and not, I mean, I'm saying to a certain extent that if the resolution goes against your interest also, even then you are able to bring out a resolution. You should be able to reach that level, and then it becomes a life skill. That's what we have to be able to learn from being a mediators and being part of mediation. That's something about what I'm trying to put it across at, but I don't know, Lily will definitely have something to tell us. Yes, Lily, what do you think?
Well, as I told you before, I'm not a professional mediator, but I've been trained as a mediator. And so, and I mean, I do use all those skills in my life. And interestingly, I'm a property manager. That's one of my jobs. So, and I've done that for 33 years. So I certainly use the skills that I've gained in dealing with tenant disputes over the years. So for me, probably the main thing I've learned is that I bring to any dispute my own emotions, my own judgments and opinions. And if I'm resolving something between tenant in unit 5 and tenant in unit 6, I need to listen to what's going on with both of them. Maybe as the apartment manager, I need to have an opinion, but for the beginning of it, I can set those opinions and judgments aside and just listen to what's going on, and then come to a conclusion of what will be best for, as you're saying, Vikram, the tenants, but also me as the manager. And then I have an owner that I'm being paid to work for. So I have to bring all that in. It makes it a little more complicated, as it would with a family when you're the mom or the dad, or even a sibling. So I think it is important at first to be able to really listen, and listening means setting aside judgments. And then you're going to be able to take all that information and try to see it clearly, and then see sort of through it to what would be, from my end, a win for each of the tenants, a win for me, and a win for the owner. It can get so complicated, but it's certainly interesting and fun to do.
Definitely is, but I think what we started that discussion with was the most basic aspect. What is mediation? Because obviously people, it's like the elephant and the blind man situation. Everyone has what they think is mediation in every part of the world, and that part of it, are we going to come to a common aspect of understanding that? So there is a definition which is available in the Singapore Convention, which of course the US has also signed. And I mean, in the US, in the court system, you still have a definition of mediation lying in the law. Here we don't have a definition. A lot of countries don't have a definition. So I keep saying that if you don't have a definition, where would you go? So why don't you go there? And in the definition, it very nicely says a process, whatever be the name, however you do it, no concept of what you call it. You can call it mediation, conciliation, anything. Main thing is that the person who is assisting the parties should not have the authority to impose a solution. So first we have to be clear on that part of it, because if it comes out as a life skill, we have to be first of all clear what we are talking about. What is mediation? So that is what we started that discussion. Now beyond that, Ellie is of course going to take us more into the aspect of a life skill. Yes, Ellie, what did you want to say? Yes.
Vikram, do you want me to speak?
Yes, always. Right? Really, you have such nice things to tell us always.
Thank you. I think which I was thinking about now is that when you discuss that in our life, we start maybe even in our personal situation, we may be not included in it, and we may look for it from some separated side. Sorry for my English as usually, but sometimes I feel that maybe it's even become my trouble. But now I can't to look at any situation only from one side, because I see that if there are a lot of parties, even if I am a party of this situation, I understand what any of us may have its own point of view, and when I become in some cases, I try to understand any person. And for me, for several last years, sometimes I have a feeling like I haven't some strong opinion about something because I can understand several person in one time. I see what they have a right to feel in this way, or there are a lot of things that happened in their lives, why they're looking for this situation in this way. And sometimes my native people, like my family, maybe not glad for that, because of course they want me to be on their position and want me to be with them in any case. But I at one time with them, but I tell them, but look at this person, don't you understand what he may feel it in this and this way? Because in this time I understand him and him in the same case.
That's really important what you said. It's come at the end of the whole session, but that's really important. And that's exactly what we have to bring out. And that's, I feel that's important. But Jasmine, your topic, what do you think? What have you taken up? Because we'll have to do the concluding part of it only because we have the next session coming up. So what did you take from the entire thing? First, you got a lesson on mediation, which I should not have given you, but I found it important. So what else did you take from the session?
Actually, I have a lot of questions which I'll be like taking up with you after sessions.
Okay.
I have a lot to learn.
But what else?
I think what I've learned is that mediation has to be separated from its components if we really want to get into what it really is. To understand it's a life skill, it's a process in totality, it's a life process, and not just its components, its parts which make it a life process, life skill.
Because I tell you, you said you wanted that topic. I was okay, but I think the important topic would be mediator mindset, a life skill. I would want to go, because mediation by itself, is it? I mean, a life skill. I mean, skill is more about the mediator mindset. So we'll take that as a separate topic. We'll do it again. But it's mediation, because look, if the part of mediation being a life skill, then you have to get into the process being used in a manner where you are able to resolve a dispute. And a mediator mindset, is it beyond that? What else goes into a mediator mindset? So I think that's a discussion we will have. So Lily, anything concluding remarks kind of thing?
No, it was nice to join and hear different views. Thank you.
Because we really did not know where all we were going on this. So if because it's a wide topic, it can go various ways, but the general discussion was important only because, look, Jasmine is a student and we had to go through certain basics, very basic aspect of it, because whatever they are being told about mediation, I think still feel it's a very limited aspect of it. And with that kind of information, should she be able to look at what that life skill is? So I think first, right now, she's going to take some time to look at what mediation is. And then she'll come to this point when it's a life skill or not. So I think at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm cut this session. As the next session, we'll start that, and then we can always have our discussions there. So is it all right? Anything if you want to say, we have some 2 minutes, not a problem. Anything that you want to say, Ellie?
The only thing which I want to say is I think that mediation is a life skill, or mediation mindset, and also mediation lifestyle is a lifestyle. It's always a whole topic which we are speaking with you for a long time, and I think we can't speak only about skills because it's going together. Skills, lifestyle, our mindset, because we also use it in our life in different ways.
Because look,
and always connected.
Mediation, a way of life, that's another discussion we're having.
I see.
But now I think the topic that I think we'll have to put across is now mediator mindset, a life skill. I'm going to put that separately. We'll have a discussion on that. So thank you very much for coming in.